This episode is part of our Australian Pale Ale series. Today's beer is Matilda Bay Fat Jack Pale Ale. Hello from Beer Australia Reviews, and today we are going to be sampling, tasting and reviewing some Matilda Bay Fat Jack Pale Ale. Now, the Matilda Bay Brewing Company was the first new brewery that was established in Australia since World War II, and this one was first set up in Perth in Western Australia in 1984. And the brewery itself was north of the river in Netherlands, but they used to have a brew pub, the Sail and Anchor, which is still there in Fremantle, because they couldn't get any of the other pubs which were tied to the breweries to actually take any of their beers. So the only way that they could find to sell the beers was to literally open their own pub. Now, Fat Yak and a couple of other things like Redback beers were part of the original Matilda Bay Brewing range of products. Now, over recent years, there's been some moves, there's been some buyouts, there's been some consolidations and things, and right this second, the Fat Yak has been removed from the, well, there's a reimagined Matilda Bay company which is now over east, which is starting to produce the Redback again, but the Fat Yak range is now mainly part of the Carlton Breweries group. So it's some of these are brewed in Tasmania, and I think some of them are brewed in Melbourne, but you can never tell with these beers exactly where they're going to come from once it goes into like being part of a conglomerate of like the Carlton Breweries is. So okay, doesn't really bode well for the Fat Yak, because I used to drink the Fat Yak on draft a few years ago before the latest consolidation, and if I went into a pub and they had Fat Yak on draft, I would buy a pint, and it was a nice beer. And the thing was as well, you're thinking that because I'm in Perth, because I'm literally a few minutes away from Matilda Bay right there, that it's going to be a local beer, and it's a bit of a surprise really when you find out it might have come all the way from Tasmania, even though it's called Matilda Bay. But anyways, okay, so now from the website, Fat Jack first impresses with its golden colour, distinctive hop-driven fruity and herbaceous aroma. So it's the first time I've had a herbaceous aroma. Giving characteristic melon and grassy notes and more grass, followed by a lingering smooth hop finish. Okay, well, let's give it a try. Yeah, it's quite pale. Oh no, it's a little bit darker. Looks more malty than pale ale, to be honest. Not much of a head, hardly any head. Lots of big bubbles. No head. What are we going to do to get this one with a head? Okay. That does not look like a pale ale. Not much aroma. When it's a craft beer, you get the aroma coming through at this point, but not getting that much aroma from this one. Bubbles look good though. It looks like it's sparkling really nice. We've got some small bubbles, we've got some big bubbles, and it's like a light foam head. It's not a dense one, it's like big bubbles. Okay, let's give it a try. I'm not getting the citrus in this like you get from a craft beer pale ale. Little bit herbaceous, maybe. Grassy, possibly it might be. That doesn't have much of a flavour, to be honest. It's a little bit watery. I think this is more of a malty extract beer rather than being like a natural barley mash that they've made for the thing. And given the fact that I'm getting, there's not really any citrus in there, I'm not getting a lot of floral notes from this one, which you should do if it's a good quality pale ale. I've got to conclude that they make this with like maybe hop extract and malt extract. So unfortunately, I think this one's been, this used to be made up to a quality, and it was one of the first craft beers. Well, Matilda Bay is described as the first craft beer brewery in Australia, and I can vouch for the fact that years ago, 20 odd years ago, when I used to drink the Redback and things, the beer was really good. In recent years, when I tried a Redback, it seemed to be different, just a cheaper beer. And I'm thinking as well that this Fat Yak has been, I think they've reduced costs on the Fat Yak brewing process by just using like processed ingredients, extracts rather than the natural ingredients. But let's give it a try. Okay, it's not unpleasant. It's an okay beer. Would I choose this over craft beer? No, I never would. But it's brewed down to a price, so it's at a lower price point than the craft beers. Some of the craft beers are just ridiculously priced in Australia. I mean, all beer is ridiculously priced in Australia anyway. I think they put extra duty on top of the thing to stop people from buying it. But is that just? But it is just a cynical money-making exercise from the government as well, in my opinion. But this one is brewed down to a level, and it is at a lower price point. If you find this one on special offer and you've got $10 instead of $20, then I would buy a 6-pack of this one. But if you've got $20, buy a craft beer 4-pack instead of a 6-pack of Matilda Bay Fat Yak. Let's see if I can get any of the other things. What was it saying? Herbaceous aromas, distinctive hop driven. This is not hop driven. I don't think there's any actual real hops in it. Like I say, I think it's an extract. Well, if I went into a pub and I had a choice of any of the mainstream brands or a Fat Yak, this one, I would choose this one over them. But if you've got any other sort of a choice, I would be going for a craft beer. I would be going to one of the newer microbrewery beers. And no, lingering taste? No, it's gone. It hasn't got a lingering taste. It's not an unpleasant beer. It's an okay beer, but it's a lower end beer. It's not a high quality beer. Would I drink it? Yes, I would. I'm going to finish this one off anyway. But would I recommend this one over other beers? Only the cheaper stuff. Only the things like the lower brand ones, the other Carlton beers, your Emu Export and your Swan Draft and things like that. I would recommend this one over that. And also, if you've ever been unfortunate enough to try the Tinnies Pale Ale, which is a Cold's own brand thing, I would prefer this one over that one on any day of the week. It's not the greatest of beers. We've still got a little bit of sparkle on this one. So Fat Yak, not as good as what it used to be a few years ago, because they're now brewing it at Carlton just down to a price point. So it's a mass-produced beer, and it tastes like a mass-produced beer. The water quality is okay. I mean, it's an okay quality beer. It just doesn't do much for me. So, yeah. In any case, I'm going to finish it off. Thank you for watching.